I finally got caught up with Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man. You may have caught me do the review for issues 1 through 3 as they were coming out, and as it happens, life happened, and I fell behind, but Marvel did send an early copy of the trade paperback. This is Volume 1, Married with Children. It comes out on September 10th, and I was able to not only get caught up with issue 6, which is what this collects up until, but also the most recent issues 7 and 8. This retails $20. I'm going to do a review on it with overhead shots. It's probably going to be spoilers here. I mean, I haven't done it yet, but I could assume it's going to get into spoiler territory. So if you don't want to get spoiled, buy the trade. If you've been waiting it out, I know cover A, issue 1, first print, went for a lot of money on the aftermarket. I don't know where it's at now. There's probably second, third printings. There's probably variants. But if you've been waiting, I definitely think you should read this. This is the best Spider-Man run that I've read in a long time, and I'll tell you why right now. All right, well, first of all, it's Jonathan Hickman, and it has great art by Marco Cicchetto, who did this amazing cover for issue 1. Here's a quick look at the spine. Nothing to see here. I always really treated trades as reading material and less as collectibles. I mean, when it comes to hardcovers, I'm more of a collectible guy, but I always looked at these as like, this is a way to get caught up on your reading. So here we have the back. I mentioned the price. I mentioned it collects issues 1 through 6. You have a little bit of credits here, some quotables, all that good stuff. Now, on Ultimate Black Panther 1, I didn't really love it. It felt very safe. It felt like just a regular run-of-the-mill new Black Panther volume. So I kind of fell off of that, but I wouldn't mind getting caught up with that. All right, here's the intro. Here are some more credits. So this is what you see in the beginning of issue 1 here. You could have read Ultimate Invasion. I did a review of that trade paperback a few months ago, and it really sets up what happened in this Ultimate Universe with the Maker, the evil version of Reed Richards, and how he goes back into time, preventing all of the superheroes from becoming superheroes, and basically having this cabal of people who secretly run the world. There are all these different factions, and we see that teased throughout this trade paperback. So it does kind of give you a little bit more, but you can also really just piece that together, like with comics. You know, you can never really get caught up on all the continuity, but as you're reading along, you kind of get caught up. So it starts off, every page of every issue is the start of a new month. So this starts in January. We have Peter Parker. He looks older. He's got a beard. He's getting ready. You could see he has a wedding ring. You could see he has a family. He's got Richard and May Parker. He's got 2 kids. And he is married to none other than Mary Jane. He's living a good life, man, but something feels a little bit off. He doesn't feel like he's living up to his full potential, and he doesn't know why. We head on over to where he works at the Daily Bugle. Even though this is a kind of altered universe, he still works as a photographer at the Bugle, and J. Jonah Jameson is screaming his name, Parker, Parker! But he's not talking about Peter, he's talking about Ben, who is still alive, because Peter never became Spider-Man in this universe. So Uncle Ben, he works there, and so does Peter. They have a great relationship between the two. This is the best relationship dialogue that I've seen from Jonathan Hickman. I've read a lot of his stuff, Avengers, Fantastic Four. I'm sure there was a ton of other stuff, but the way, the dynamic, the way that he writes these characters and their interaction and their relationships together feels so authentic, man. It's such a refreshing read. Anyway, we're going to this eulogy. We learn that there's been this big catastrophe and that Peter and Ben have recently lost, spoiler alert, May Parker. So in this universe, Uncle Ben's alive, Aunt May is dead, and we learn that there was this huge catastrophe. We've got Matt Murdock here as a priest. They're giving a eulogy. Harry Osborn, you can tell he lost his father, and you can tell he's kind of bitter. He's kind of out for revenge. So this is a little bit of foreshadowing here with Harry speaking. He doesn't have a relationship with Peter. I think they may know each other, but it's not like how it is in the world that we know. Head back to the Bugle. We can see that J. Jonah Jameson is fighting in the conference room, and he quits the Daily Bugle. Ben comes up back from the eulogy with Peter. He's like, what did I miss? Well, Robbie is explaining to him that our new boss, the Kingpin here, wants us to publish this, that, and the third. Keep an eye on this version of Bullseye too, this guy here. So Ben Parker, you kind of think he's going to toe the line. Nah, man, he grabbed his box and he met J. Jonah Jameson in the elevator. So what do we do next? They're boys. I love their relationship. Man, I feel so bad that J. Jonah Jameson would have been a way better dude had Ben Parker been alive. So anyway, we flash to Kingpin, and somebody makes an attempt on his life. I wonder who that could be. It's an ironclad Green Goblin. Who is that Green Goblin, you ask? Well, we do find out. You don't really know yet, but you have an idea. Again, bullseye. You don't really know yet, but you find out he's not really working for Kingpin. He's working for the secret cabal that run everything. Anyway, Ben and J. Jonah Jameson are at a bar. They're talking about what they're going to do, and then they decide to start a new news organization together. And again, the dynamic, the banter is great. Peter drops in to check on them. They obviously can't pay Peter. He's got a wife and kids, but they have a nice heart-to-heart here. Great interactions. So even though I'm giving you guys like maybe some spoilers, it's definitely worth reading just to get all the dialogue, all the interactions, all the banter. Peter goes home to MJ. He's talking about, like I mentioned, the feeling like he's not living up to his full potential, feeling like something is missing. Mary Jane is saying, hey, listen, when I wanted to quit modeling and start my own business, you were supportive. And I believe at this time, she already knows about this. I think he tells her, so it's the prior night. Peter was given some Stark tech. He opens this thing up, and you have Tony Stark, who is now being framed for this big D-Day event, coming to Peter as Iron Man and explaining to him what's going on, who he was supposed to be. He was supposed to be Spider-Man. If you have this gnawing feeling at your soul, it's because you're right. Something was robbed from you, and if you want that back, all you got to do is open this orb, get this radioactive spider, and let it bite you, which he does, and boom, we get the end of issue 1 with this black kind of silhouette of a spider suit. Issue 1 was incredible. I remember having online discussions with people. Some people felt it was too long. I wanted more, man. I really dug. First of all, the artwork is great. Marco Cicchetto was one of the greats. Jonathan Hickman is one of the greats, and it's the most real feeling Hickman I think I've ever gotten. Although his Fantastic Four must have been good, but it's just been a minute since I've read it. All right, cool. So the trade paperback gives you images from variant covers, always cool to have. And then we jump into issue 2, which starts off in February. Spider-Man's suit is this all-black suit, kind of a nod to the symbiotes, if you will. People are finding out about this Spider-Man online. Peter hasn't told anybody yet. Mary Jane's got to go to work. It's the family dynamic. Here we can see Spider-Man learning his powers, learning about his strength, his agility, his webbing, learning how to stop, which he does not have an easy time doing. And then we flash forward, or scene changes to more Ben and J. Jonah Jameson. So they're kind of talking about the same stuff, talking about their plans, talking about the paper, talking about what are we going to name it? We don't have a name for it yet. And I remember reading the first 3 issues and being really curious, like, what are they going to name this thing? I guess I'll tell you that right now. Spoiler alert, they call it The Paper. But they want to do it right. They want to cover the real stories. What's going to happen now is Kingpin's Daily Bugle is going to be covering this character, this black costumed vigilante, this menace, if you will, whereas the real story is, who is this ironclad Green Goblin that keeps putting hits out on the Kingpin? Of course, the Kingpin's not going to report on this because it affects him directly. So that's kind of the dynamic here. So you see Spider-Man, his first neighborhood-friendly Spider-Man interaction. He runs up on this version of the Shocker. It's funny banter, man. It's almost like the first time the Shocker's been a villain, but he plays on Peter's, naivety? He's naive? How do you say that in a present tense? He plays on the fact that Peter is naive and blasts the hell out of him with his shockers, his blasters. Knocks him into the garbage can. Peter learns a lesson. He comes home, and then we kind of realize that this suit is like a nanotech type of suit. It's kind of peeling back from his face while he's eating ice cream, and a young May Parker, who's already scared of this vigilante, sees it in her kitchen. So Peter has to unmask and explain to May Parker, and now they have this cute little daddy-daughter bond that she knows this secret. She knows that he is this vigilante, doesn't have a name yet, and still tells him that she's scared of his costume. Again, now here's the Bugle printing Spider-Man stuff. Here is Captain Britain. I forget if he works for the Cabal, or I think he does work for the Cabal or the Kingpin. Doesn't really matter. If you read it, you'll find out. But that's what it looks like. All right, so then you have Peter here. Goes back on another adventure against the Shocker once again. And he gets tricked once again. But this time, he's joined by another vigilante, the guy in the green armor that we've seen before. So they have their first battle. Peter comes back home, drinks milk, has a note from his daughter on the fridge. I drew a picture of a spider. I hope you like it. Foreshadowing the classic red and blue. Issue 2, heartfelt. Love the dynamic between Peter and his children. I hate the fact that they're probably going to disappear one day. Like, what's going to happen, right? But here goes, what is this? The Ryan Stegman, J.P. Meyer, and Matt Milla variant, the whole Parker family. Very cool. Then we're on to issue 3. You got Spider-Man with the Green Goblin on the cover. It's March. May and Richard, they kind of know that there's some kind of bond going on between May and Peter. What secrets do they hold? And they kind of brush it off. He then immediately takes her out on the rooftop, showing off the powers and trying to pick a costume. He can kind of change the costume at will. She says the black webbing is still too scary. She says this Scarlet Spider-inspired 90s hoodie look is outdated and he's so old. Maybe try a little bit more red. This is too much red. That's too much blue. And then he finds some common ground in the middle, and they agree on the classic red and blue suit. Very cool. We have Ben Parker and J. Jonah Jameson. They have a new office space. It's not much to look at. Peter brings a bonsai tree. I guess he reiterates that they can't afford him. But he sees their whole Pepe Sylvia marking all of the attacks on Kingpin-owned properties by this mysterious green vigilante. So Peter's kind of giving them a little bit of intel. I mean, nothing too serious, nothing that's going to get him fired, just stuff to help them along the way. He starts doing stakeouts as Spider-Man. It's not as glamorous as it is in movies and comic books, is it? He's getting rained on. He's just sitting outside until he finally sees a battle between this version of Bullseye and the Green Goblin. So very cool. Spider-Man shows up. He sees them fighting. He jumps into the fight. Marco Cicchetto's artwork is incredible. Bullseye getting his gambit on. And then it's basically the Green Goblin and Spider-Man team up. So after the fight, Green Goblin is like, it looks like nano Stark tech you got there. Let's just peel that off at will. And he's able to unmask Peter. He unmasks himself. It's Harry Osborn. It's obvious once you see it, it's obvious. But when I was first reading it, I was like, who is the Green Goblin? Is it going to be a bait and switch? Is it J. Jonah Jameson? No, it's Harry. So now they know that their secret identities or what have you. And then we jump into issue 4, which is in April. So now what we're having is Peter and Harry forming a friendship based out of this alliance. They have a double date with Mary Jane, and Harry is he engaged to or married to Gwen Stacy? So there we go. I thought it was going to be Liz Allen for a second, but it is Gwen Stacy. So nice kind of banter, politicking as usual around the dinner table. Harry and Gwen and Mary Jane are very successful. Peter not so much, but he still fits in. A lot of the dialogue, at this dinner. Again, Jonathan Hickman, he really shines with his interaction between characters in this run. Like, I legit enjoy reading all the banter. You got Ben Parker babysitting his grandkids, Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane powdering their nose, just talking business, talking family, and then Peter and Harry talking. Harry figures out that Mary Jane doesn't know about this Spider-Man persona, but Gwen Stacy doesn't. Yeah, they are married. Does know everything about her husband. Harry hits him with the great power comes great responsibility. All right, so then you have Peter walking home. They're a great couple, and that's really all that happens in issue 4. Moving on to issue 5, gives more backstory on Harry and what his relationship was like with his father, Norman. So I thought this was pretty cool. Norman was a hard ass, man. He was tough on Harry. Harry was actually late when he's not supposed to be late. That's like a huge faux pas for Norman. But him being late saved his life, man. And Norman Osborn died in the attack. Is that the D-Day attack that was framed on Stark? I think it was. All right, then we get a little flashback now to Harry Osborn inheriting his father's fortune and the companies. He's basically learning about what he's inheriting, and he gets an invite from none other than Wilson Fisk, the Kingpin, who wants to sell him the Stark Enterprises. For whatever reason, Harry buys it. I guess he's a little bit forced to buy it, so he's not really working for Kingpin. But there's some interesting details in there. He buys Stark Tech. He finds the armor. He starts building his own armor. And this is a lot of the backstory on how he gets the Green Goblin armor, how he has the same technology as Spider-Man's suit and is able to remove the mask, and the interaction leading up to the double date. Basically, they went out for drinks first to discuss what's going on. Harry and Peter talk about this universe that's been altered. Harry explains that he found out the hard way that everything's been altered, where Spider-Man was told everything by Tony Stark. So there's more to it than that, but you get it. Meanwhile, we have Bullseye captured ever since that first battle between Spider-Man, Green Goblin, and Bullseye. So they're picking his brain. They're learning about the Cabals and all the other stuff going on with the Ultimate Universe. So that ends issue 5. I do like this Mike Del Mundo homage to ASM 50, first appearance of Kingpin, but it's really Spider-Man's laundry in the laundry basket while he's doing his fatherly duties. And then we're on to issue 6, the last one in this trade paperback. Peter shows up. It's beginning of June. He's got a big shiner on his face, and he has to come clean to his family that he's been Spider-Man this whole time. So basically, that's what happens. We get the flashback to see how he got it. It was from none other than Kingpin. Brutal battle between Goblin, Spider-Man, and Kingpin. Harry gets rocked. He gets super scared. Peter gets rocked as well. Kingpin is a force to be reckoned with. I mean, look how huge he is. So that was a great battle. And then Peter coming clean to his family, to his son, who I kind of thought the son was going to take it a lot harder than he did. Like, damn, you trusted your my little sister with this, but you didn't trust your son? He kind of took it better than I thought he would have, unless that comes back to bite him later. And then Mary Jane, she's like, I think she even says it. She's 30% mad, 40% intrigued, 20% turned on. So kind of a fast issue. They all seem a little bit faster because issue 1 was so long. But look at this, man. Isn't this what we want from Spider-Man? Spider-Man and Mary Jane swinging away. Issue 7 and 8 are great. I will review those probably with the next trade paperback that comes out, but I'm going to try to keep up to date with the PDFs. Maybe I'll review them during our live morning show. It's every morning from Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. Bro, I love these images right here. The same image with the symbiote suit or the black suit, the Superior Spider-Man, Scarlet Spider, 2099, Ben Reilly Spider-Man. I actually sent this page to Daniel Bell, and I'm like, hey, imagine the same Spider-Man with different costumes like your recent Hulk. So the rest of the trade gives you the images of all the variants, so you don't have to hunt them all down if you just want the art. That's always cool to have, this nice connecting cover. And that is it, guys. I love this run. I hope it lasts for a really long time. Give me your thoughts and comments below. I appreciate you watching. Stay minty fresh. Peace out. Catch you later. All right, bye.